So the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra is almost certainly the best Android phone of the year so far, and I would argue probably the best smartphone period, even better than any of the iPhone 12s. So if you're an Android smartphone fan, chances are you have been eyeing this phone, but not everyone has been able to or willing to pay Samsung's sky-high asking price of $1,300 for an S21 Ultra. So that has opened up the doors to some shady manufacturers to make knockoffs. So a couple of days ago, I was on Facebook and I noticed someone was selling a Galaxy S21 Ultra for 800 Hong Kong dollars, which is about 110 US dollars. So I figure since it's a really slow month, I don't have many devices to test right now, might as well pick up the fake S21 Ultra and just check out how close it is to the real thing and how bad it is. I have it here. Hi, I'm Ben and you're watching XDA TV. Okay, let's take a look at the packaging first. Whoever made this, I'm assuming is a company in China. They clearly put in a little bit of effort to make the packaging look like Samsung's official packaging. Now, if you put these two boxes side by side, you can see the difference in the color schemes, but Samsung only started using this color scheme with the S21 Ultra. If you go back to the S20 and S10 Plus series, the box actually kind of look like this with this two-tone finish. Now this Comic Sans font down here is a little bit hilarious, but other than that, the rest looks pretty legitimate. The Samsung logo looks accurate, and then if you look at the side of the box, there's actually texture. If you run your finger across the text, you actually feel the word. So there's a little bit more effort that puts into the outer sleeve at least. But once you open it up, then clearly this does not look like a Samsung packaging. This looks pretty generic right here. Let's take a look at what we have inside. So when you open up the box, you see the phone with its back facing you. Rightfully so, because they did a pretty good job with this phone's back in my opinion. We'll get to the phone's design a little bit later. Let's check out the rest of the packaging. So yeah, this is clearly a pretty cheap budget phone packaging right here. But inside, you actually get a little bit more than what Samsung gives you officially. First of all, you get a clear jelly case. The official S21 Ultra does not give you that. You also get a charging brick, which Samsung also doesn't give you. You have a USB-C cable, and you even get earphones, which again Samsung doesn't give you too. And these earphones have a 3.5mm port because the S21 Ultra, the fake one, actually has a headphone jack. So I guess if you really want to crack a joke, this phone does indeed beat the real S21 Ultra in two ways. You get a headphone jack and you get a charging brick. Now if you're wondering what the official retail package of the S21 Ultra looks like, it's really bare bones. So you open up the phone box, you get the phone, and then that is it. Inside you have a charging cable, USB-C charging cable in there, and that is it. No charging brick, no case, no earphones. Alright, now let's look at the hardware of this fake S21 Ultra. I actually think they did a pretty good job with the back. This is clearly plastic right here, but they added this coating to give it a fake metallic finish, kind of like the LG G3. The camera module actually looks pretty nice too. To the untrained eye, you may actually just think this is a Galaxy S21 Ultra, but if you do know what you're looking for, you look a little bit closer, you'll see that, you know, Samsung obviously put in a lot more money in craftsmanship. This unique camera module on the real S21 Ultra, for example, it's a unique design that blends into the side of the chassis almost seamlessly. You see it's one piece right here. That is not the case here. You see clearly this is a camera module that has been placed on top. So there's a very clear edge right here between the camera module and the side chassis. And also, if you look at the camera lenses, so first of all, 5 lenses here, they're complete lies. There's only one camera here on the back. It's a 3-megapixel camera. Photos are terrible. But they did a pretty good job of aping the look. But it's actually pretty funny if you look closer. Like this laser autofocus and this supposedly 3x telephoto zoom lens, both of these are completely, they're not a real lens. They're just kind of part of the plastic mold. Now, this right here, it's actually the real camera. And then if you look down here, they actually did a pretty good job of pretending there's a periscope zoom lens in there because this is rectangular shaped, just like the real periscope zoom lens. in the real S21 Ultra. You see a rectangular lens in there. So this is completely fake. And then up top, this is supposed to be an ultra wide angle. You can tell it's just a piece of cardboard underneath the lens, because if you look closely, you can see that the cardboard's not aligned correctly. It's not laid flat. It's a little bit crooked and crumpled up to the side. So you can actually see that if you look closely. It's pretty funny. There's only one real camera here, and like I said, it sucks. But flipping the phone around to the front, and I think even if you don't know much about smartphones, you should be able to tell this is not a real Galaxy S21 Ultra, because first of all, there's a notch, and then there's a relatively giant chin down at the bottom, and this screen is clearly not an OLED panel. Although, to be fair, for a $100 device, this screen isn't complete trash. It actually gets decently bright even outside in the sunlight, and if you log on to a website and watch videos, colors are actually, they're a little bit dull, but they're not terrible. And also you'll notice the fake S21 Ultra has done a pretty respectable job of faking the S21 Ultra's look. So first, you get this default wallpaper that is the exact same wallpaper as what Samsung uses for the real S21 Ultra. And you notice the app icons for the camera, for the photo gallery are identical to with One UI's design. And even these navigation buttons are the same design as Samsung's One UI navigation button. They even got that quirk right of having the back button on the right side, because almost every other phone has the back button on the left side except for Samsung for some reason. Now there is no swipe gesture navigation on this phone, so you have to use these on-screen buttons, but they do get the job done. Like, everything works as advertised. Now, another funny thing is, if you look at this icon here, you think it's Spotify, right? But no, this just says music. This is a default music app for you to load MP3s in there, I guess. So this is a music app that they just straight up rip off the Spotify icon. They even got all the little details right too. You swipe up, you'll enter an app tray that scrolls side to side, just like on the real S21 Ultra. And if you swipe right from the home screen, you get this Bixby page. So they even have a fake Bixby in here. Now, as for the internal components, this is where this phone is completely dishonest in the retail packaging, and also if you jump into settings. In fact, they don't even align. If you read the retail box, it actually claims to have 64 gigs of internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM. And if you jump into settings, you actually see that it says 6 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of internal storage. Well, both of these are lies. This phone only has 1 gig of RAM and 2 gigs of internal storage. I found out the hard way because I actually thought I could use this phone even as a really cheap budget phone, but I soon realized it's almost unusable for me because everything loads so slowly. So check this out. It takes 40 seconds just to load the YouTube app because this phone only has 1 gig of RAM. This is confirmed when I jump into device info, and it shows that it only has 1 gig of LPDDR2 RAM. Same with the internal storage. I did not know this phone had such low storage until I started installing apps, and after installing just one app, by the time I tried to install the second app, it already said it was out of storage. It kept popping up, you need to free up space, even though I only have one app installed in addition to system apps. That really doesn't take up much space. And if you're wondering about the SoC of this clone, this phone runs on a MediaTek MT6582. I've never even heard of this chip before. Now, there is a silver lining. It is that the core features of a phone actually works. When you put a SIM card in there, you can take phone calls and make phone calls. And Bluetooth, surprisingly, also works. I was able to send files from this fake S21 Ultra to my Galaxy Z Fold 2. Okay, and now let's check out the cameras. Wow, look how slow this phone is. So the details are quite soft. You see a lot of noise on the walls. Now let's take the same picture with the real S21 Ultra. It is night and day. And here are some more samples side by side too. Okay, so this fake S21 Ultra is even worse than I thought. Now keep in mind, I'm someone with a lot of experience with really cheap budget Chinese phones. You know, brands that a lot of you may have never even heard of, like Blackview, Liegu, Doogie. All those brands sell phones for around $150 and they're kind of really budget all around, but even those phones look like flagships compared to this phone, because this phone is straight up a ripoff. It is not usable, just about. I mean, 1 gig of RAM, 2 gigs of internal storage. You can only install one app really. If you installed Instagram, then you can't have Facebook. If you install YouTube, then you're not getting Google Map or Google Drive. So really, this phone only caters to two audiences. The first group is someone like me who bought this phone knowing it's fake, but they were curious to see just how good or how bad this rip-off S21 Ultra is. But then there's also a second camp, someone who bought this really thinking it is a Galaxy S21 Ultra. Now I know for phone geeks, you may laugh at people like that. It's like, why would you fall for such a scam? But hey, there are people out there who may fall for it, and I think it's unfortunate that they might actually buy this thinking they're getting a Samsung phone when it's not even a phone that they can use. Anyway, that about wraps up for this video. So I'm Ben and you're watching XDA TV. If you're interested in keeping up to date to all the latest gadgets, from the top of the top like the upcoming Galaxy Z Fold 3 to a really terrible device like this one, subscribe to this channel or visit xdadevelopers.com to get all your latest news on tech. Thanks for watching.